both Mr. Williams, weren't they? That's right. Ours was our guy was Mr. Williams, and the Australian exchange teacher was also Mr. Williams.
Ah, you've got better memory than me. All I remember is that.
I remember that guy because he was Aboriginal looking, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was dark with.
That's it.
I mean, I presume he was actually Aboriginal.
Probably. Yeah. So he. So of course everything was Australian.
There's pepper if you want it.
I might have a little bit. Only a touch.
And I didn't put your chutney on, so I don't know whether you like it or not.
I'll try it. So he. Everything was Australian, so we had this big Australian thing. I know that got nothing to do with why I lived there. And I remember in design, woodwork, we made boomerangs.
Right.
So I made a boomerang, and all sanded and whatever, and then we went out and tested them in the field.
Right.
And it wasn't mine, it was somebody else's. I threw it and it whacked me on the nose, and I've still got a little scar across my nose.
Oh.
I broke it. Yeah. Didn't put me off about Australia though. So but I'll always remember that.
I didn't get my nose broken until later. And it was a kid, I think it was at our school, Scott Hadabora. Big tall kid. He had to be tall because he managed to headbutt me. And you wouldn't do that unless you had a bit of height to you.
Mm.
God, that was in Top Cat's nightclub.
Oh, yeah.
You might have avoided that by heading up to university.
I heard a lot about that place, never went. Well, that was a promise I sent to my wife. It's easy for girls, but when you're a lad at that age, you can't exactly make yourself look older. You have no ID, and I wasn't 18 until the January, so people turn 18 before then. You couldn't get into pubs and things, so that's when I sort of, I went wild on my birthday. Went to the Washford Mill, pushed the boat out, and just sort of did odds and ends. And then it wasn't until leaving school then.
Oh, the dear old Washford Mill.
Yeah, that was an experience.
Well, that was a place where you went with your parents for a meal, not a place to go out on the town as a young buck.
Well, it's just obviously from school. What we did was it was the cheapest place to go to in a taxi. Living in Matchborough, it was like, let's go to Washford Mill. Cheap taxi fare.
Well, you weren't going to go to the Sticky Wicket, were you?
Oh, shit. But what I've done in the past week, I've, because of, my dad doesn't get out much, so, and mum in the hospital, I'm like, oh no, so I've just been driving around. I must have been like a bloody pedo, because I went up to the school and just had a walk around the back of the school, remembering old times, thinking, this 50-year-old guy by a school, but keep walking, head down, yeah, don't hang around the gate any longer. And they've changed the uniform.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, it's now red and black. What happened to bloody blue and gold? How dare they?
So who went under the sixth form then, that I might remember?
Nice. Sixth form, who do I hang around with? So it was Stuart Davis, Adrian Checkitts.
Oh, Checkley, wasn't it?
Adrian Checkitts, no, Adrian Checkitts.
Oh. Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, it was. I'm getting mixed up with Gavin.
Andrew Chandler.
Oh, Chango.
Stephen Pate.
Yeah.
And there's another lad as well. Anthony Lovell. He was always hanging around with Stephen Pate as well. Ian Boyle. Yeah. You were.
I remember Chango.
Paul Evans.
Oh yeah.
And I've never kept in touch with? Zero. No, nada. None.
Really?
Yeah. You sort of, well, that's it. You leave school and you sort of leave it behind you. I say it wasn't that chance meeting on Facebook. You popped up, but it's you have your own life and you think, oh, okay. And in the later years, you go, oh, I recognise that name. Is it really you?
Be interesting to see the girls and see how they turned out.
This girl from primary school got in touch with me. Because I found an old picture and I put it on Facebook in primary school thing, and she contacted me and said, "Oh, that's me there. I remember you. You were one of my favourites." I'm like, "Steady on, love. Married man, no kids." And the fact that we were like 8 at the time, I think has moved on a bit. So you're in touch with absolutely nobody?
Nope.
Perfect, makes sense. So I have to say I'll disappear again. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was busy after school, and I had the bike. Went to Europe, and when I was injured and retired and came back, it was kind of I was back in Redditch, but it was a different set that I was hanging about with. Nobody from the old days, people from school, but from a year or two above us, I think. Do you remember Ricky French, the kid that got really badly burned? Everybody called him French Fries.
The name rings a bell, but I...
He was pissing about with a motorbike, lit a fag when he was playing about with petrol.
Jeez. I said name rings a bell, I didn't I don't remember that one.
But no, nobody from school at all. Literally from... there were a couple that were at college. Warren Rose was there. And he and I still hung out together at college. I forgot about him. But then as soon as college finished, I never kept in touch.
It's like the teachers when I was in bloody nut jobs for that place.
Mr. Knight, who used to go into the store cupboard and cry.
Mr. Knight, I remember Mr. Knight.
And then come out and throw something really heavy at you.
Remember our geography teacher, Mr. Singh?
Oh yeah.
Used to call him Dan.
Yeah.
I had Mr. Ruler for French. Just pop belly out here.
I remember him. I had him to begin with, and then I had Angie Welsh. God, she was nice. Yeah, Mr. Ruler.
Yeah, but who did that for German? This little tiny woman.
Miss Morris.
Oh God, that was it. Fucking hell, she scared me.
She used to make you listen to 99 Red Balloons in the original German version. 99 Luftballon.
They only have that in Australia. The British one didn't chart.
Oh really?
It's a German one that charted. So whenever it's on the radio, it's a German version.
Funnily enough, I've actually got it in my daily playlist on my portable electric telephone.
Yeah, so the British one didn't do anything. No, the Miss Marsh, she used to tell you off in the corridor in German outside of class. So like a break time or whatever, she'd be talking to you in German like I haven't got a fucking clue what you're saying.
The one I really had a problem was Mrs. Dillon, the maths teacher.
I had her for maths. Yeah, she was. I did for I had it for O levels and Mr. Fisher for A levels. But yeah, she was. Because if you ever did anything wrong, she called you out to the front. And I remember Steve Pate did something wrong, and she got him to the front, and he had to do press ups in front of everybody.
Yeah, she was.
She threw board rubbers at you. She threw anything at you. She just launched things across the classroom. You ran scared in that class.
Yeah, I was quite happy when somebody posted up the pornographic photo shoot she did.
I wasn't aware of that.
Oh yeah. She got me into one of my only bits of trouble with the headmaster. For whatever reason, she really didn't like me. And she had favourites and she had non-favourites, and she wasn't a fair woman. So,
Correct.
for a period of time, she started marking me as absent from class. And unbeknown to me. And suddenly, out of the blue, my parents and I were summoned to the headmaster's office. And I was asked to explain why I'd been missing all of these classes. And I said, well, I haven't. And she'd been falsifying the register. Whether she ever got into trouble because of it, I don't know, but...
I remember she told me off once for there was a coffee stain on my my maths book. Like, that's not one of ours. She done it, but I got done for it.
Horrible fat cow. Didn't like her at all. Didn't like her at all.
You're not bitter, are you?
I do hold grudges. Do you remember Mr. Powell?
Mm-hmm. I remember them.
He was a bastard.
The thing I remember about the games teachers was, you know, in the badminton area, those small windows at the top, and you could look down. So the girls were at the top doing playing like table tennis or whatever. They'd be on the trampolines, bouncing up and waving at them. The pair of them were him and another pair of perverts.
He got caught having an affair with a sixth former.
Yeah, that went round. Yeah, we were aware of that one.
But he was a bastard, and I got my own back on him. For whatever reason, he joined the local cycling club.
That was amazing.
You enjoyed it?
Mm.
Oh, good. And he turned up on a Sunday morning. We used to meet up at the Beefeater at the top of Ruffield Drive. And from there, 2 runs would go. There was what was called the club run, which were the social members, older members, and they would go on a gentle 40, 50 mile ride with a stop halfway for tea and toasted tea cakes. And then there was what was called the bash. And the bash was for the racing members of the club, and we went out on a proper training ride. So you'd be doing, club run would be run off at the pace of the slowest member, normally about 13, 14 miles per hour. The bash would be 100, 120 hard miles, and it would be run off at near 20 miles an hour. And Mr. Powell, out of nowhere, I had no idea, suddenly turned up on a Sunday morning. And he clocked me. He said, "Oh, didn't know you rode a bike." I said, "Oh yeah, I didn't know you did either, sir."
I was going to say, throw it back at him.
He said, I said, "So what are you doing this morning?" He said, "I'm going out on the club run with..." I said, "You, a professional games master, going out on a club run with the old fogies? Come out with us, sir. Come out with us. I'll look after you." And I shamed him into coming out with us. Fucking hell. We left him literally, left him so exhausted that he literally just fell into a ditch. And literally, he made it about He made it about 65 miles. And then he just toppled into a ditch and we left him there. You bastard.
Get your own back. I'll never forget, they used to, when in basketball, remember they used to just bounce basketballs off the kids. Like, you know, they were just horrible.
When you were bare-chested
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely horrible, because you, obviously when they way they pick teams, they always had their favourites, and they would always go, they'd pick all the best, and people like me were always last.
Yeah.
We were always the last to be picked, and they just took the piss out of you, thinking, well, I couldn't do it to the face, because it's only when I turned 40 odd, but in my own little way, I've got my own back on them in my own bit, where when I was 42, I ran my first marathon. And I've done 3 marathons now. Got a hernia, passed out. After the finish line, I got my medal. But now I've got 3 medals on the wall, running the Melbourne Marathon 3 years in the go. So I'm thinking I couldn't even run a bath, couldn't run cross country, used to walk it and whatever.
Me too.
But now, I'm like, there you go, I've done it.
Well, that was the thing. They used to rip the piss out of me for being no good at this, that and the other. But at the same time, I was national champion on a bike. But it was cycling, so nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, it wasn't football, wasn't rugby, wasn't this.
I mean, if you came 4th in the county championships of football, you had a whole assembly. I was national champion. Didn't mean a shit.
Yeah, not good.
Because of course cycling was nothing back then. I mean, if I'd have done that now, I'd have been on some insane British cycling sponsorship deal when I was still at school. Oh, I'm stuck.
Remembered. So Westminster Safari Park, when your mum used to take us, we used to eat in the little chef. Which was your favourite one, and we used to have a meal on the way back. You always insist on this one little chef on the way back home. I remember that.
That would have been Bridge North Little Chef, wouldn't it?
I just remember it's always got to go to the little chef on the way home.
Yeah. I used to love the Little Chef, man. Big 7 burger with a side salad. That's what you wanted.
Couldn't tell you, I just remember going to the little chef.
You get your big 7 bags if you eat it all.
They don't exist nowadays, do they?
Oh, there's a kind of version of them left. In the same building as a Burger King. But, yeah. Nothing like the magnificence that they used to be back in the day. Oh, would have been Quatford. I love that Little Chef. But no, the big safari park moment was the one when we did it on our own.
Absolutely, got the because you have that bus pass thing where you could go anywhere for like 20p or whatever.
It was a railway pass, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was everything. So you could get a train, bus, and whatever.
Right, that's it.
So
we discovered it, didn't we? And then
you had to get your coins.
Did we have an adventure to Malvern once?
Yeah, I think we did. You just scratch off the date and whatever, and you could use buses and trains as much as you wanted. Yeah, I remember that.
So how the hell did we get to the safari park then?
Well, we would have gone.
So we'd have got the bus into Redditch.
Probably a train.
Yeah, we must have got a train then. I remember going on a train.
And it would have been either a bus up to Bewdley or I think it was a bus.
Would we have got we must have got a train right into New Street and then another train out of New Street. That rings a bell. I remember being on New Street. I'm sure I do.
Or a bus there too, because it's between Kidderminster and Bewdley, so it might have been a bus out to Birmingham.
I'm sure we got the train out of Birmingham and then we got the bus from wherever we got to.
Unless it was a train to Kidderminster and then the bus out.
I think that's what it was. And right, this is probably my memory playing tricks. How many times did we go on that Cobra that day?
Too many, because there was no queue. It came round and round and round.
Now, in my mind, we did it somewhere between 50 and 100 times.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. No, it wouldn't be that long queue, but it was a lot then.
Yeah.
Because it'd say no bugger went there.
Yeah.
Do you want to stay on? Yeah. There's no queue.
And I remember that we were skint and desperately thirsty on the way home.
Doesn't matter. had a good day.
It was a good day.
No little chef back then.
Yeah, well, that was you needed your parents for a little chef, didn't you? God, eh? All those years ago.
Yeah. And nowadays, kids, I don't know, they're born. They want the world and whatever. And so my days, get your own bus, get your own train. No, can I have a lift here? No, do it yourself.
Yeah. It's a different world, isn't it? And I bet you do the same as me. We talk about it, and we had to do it. I bet you took your kids to school. I bet you did the school run. I did.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I still do it now because my daughter's lazy. Although she finishes school, because the school year in Australia is a calendar year, so she finishes school very shortly to do it.
She's 17, yeah?
Yeah, so she finishes next week, is her last week, and then she's got her exams coming up. So in Australia, you don't leave school to think.
Well, that was fun. Gosh, 49 minutes. Do tune in the next time that Chris and Boaty do lunch.